Your Christmas 2020 plans all over the place? We're going to have to cinnamon roll with it. Hello and welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are well. Yeah, I know that was a weak intro this time. I was struggling. But anyway, it's time for another Christmas video, and I thought at first I was going to do a video on how to do mince pies because I didn't do one last year and I thought that was a glaring oversight. But I thought this year's an unusual one, so let's mix it up a bit. Let's try and do something a bit unusual. Let's experiment a bit, because I've been doing that anyway. If you've watched like the deep fried turkey with bubble and squeak waffles video, you know it's a bit of a year for mixing things up. So I decided, instead of using my mum's homemade mincemeat that she gives me every year for mince pies, I thought I would put it to a different use and use it for Christmas cinnamon rolls. That's right, Christmas cinnamon rolls. And what are Christmas cinnamon rolls, I hear you ask? Well, that's a good question. I'm making it up as I go along. My plan is to put a layer of mincemeat in where the cinnamon sugar goes as well to give it that Christmassy flavour. And I'm also going to throw in a few extra Christmassy flavours as I go along. So let's get started. It's going to take a little bit of time because we've got a lot of proving and stuff to do. So let's get started. So for the dough for our Christmas cinnamon rolls, we're going to need some strong white bread flour, some milk, some caster sugar, butter, 2 eggs, yeast, vanilla extract, and I'm also going to put in the zest of 3 Clementines for extra Christmassy flavour. Right, because this is very similar to a bread dough, I'm going to be using my stand mixer, but you can do this by hand. It just takes a little bit more work and it's a little bit more messy. So I'm adding in my strong white bread flour. I'm going to create a bit of a well in the centre. And to one side of that well, I'm putting the yeast. And I almost forgot a bit of salt, because always add a bit of salt to your dough for seasoning. Then on top of the yeast, I'm putting the sugar. Then I'm going to grate in the zest from my Clementines, however you say it, that's what I'm grating in. But save the actual fruit of the Clementines until later because we'll need it again. Then into that well, I'm adding the eggs, beaten, my softened butter, then I'm going to add in half of my milk, which I've warmed in the microwave, down with my dough hook, and I'm going to start beating that together. Then I'm going to slowly add in the rest of my milk. I almost forgot my vanilla extract. I'm going to chuck that in with the rest of my milk. Right, that's coming to a pretty sticky dough, but that's fine because as we knead it, it will come together more into a smoother dough. So I'm going to pop that back down and I'm going to set it to a medium-high speed to knead for about 10 minutes. Right, after a good 10 minutes of kneading, that has come into a very smooth and silky dough. You can hopefully see how lovely and smooth and glossy that dough is, and that's obviously from the butter and the eggs. It's an enriched dough, much like a brioche would be. So I'm going to pop that back into the bowl, bring the lid down, and I'm just going to leave that to prove for a good hour until that has doubled in size. It's been about an hour, maybe a little bit more, and you can see that has doubled up in size nicely. It's nice and warm in here because I've got the heating on. Probably costing me a small fortune. Anyway, let's knock the air out of this, which is very satisfying. Check that out. So airy. I'm going to flour my surface lightly. And I'm going to flatten this out and roll it out to about 40 centimetres by 20 metres. 20 metres? 20 centimetres size, so yeah, 40 by 20 centimetres, probably roughly. So that's roughly the right width. So I just need to get this up to, where's 40? Here's 40, so I want that sort of size going this way. So that's about the right sort of size, probably a little bit bigger, but I'd rather too big than too small.
That's what she said.
Now, spreading across about 75 grams worth of softened butter. This is the messy bit, but it's also the fun bit. Then over that, I'm sprinkling 175 grams worth of dark brown sugar. Sorry, light brown sugar, the other one. I've also got 2 tablespoons worth of cinnamon, a teaspoon's worth of nutmeg, and a teaspoon's worth of cloves for extra Christmassy flavour. Usually it'd just be the cinnamon, but we're being extra Christmassy today. Then I'm going to sprinkle that over the top of this as well. Then I'm going to mix this all in and rub this into the butter. Then to add our mincemeat. I don't know how much to use here because quite frankly I'm making this up as I go along, so I'm just going to spread an even layer of this across the dough. I'm going to go with about half this jar to start off with. This is going to be kind of like a Chelsea bun cinnamon roll hybrid, I reckon. Let's spread this out. You never know, I might actually need that whole jar. If you don't know what mincemeat is, it's basically a mixture of dried fruits, suet, usually like beef suet or vegetable suet, then it's kind of just soaked in rum or brandy or something like that. Or I think my mum's done me a non-alcoholic version here because I don't drink. But it smells incredible. Such Christmassy flavours. I'm going to go with the whole jar, why the heck not? So that's probably about a 500 gram jar of mincemeat, I reckon. And now we need to roll our cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to go from this end and try and roll this as tightly as I possibly can, because we want some decent swirls in this. And then I'm going in with a sharp knife and I'm just going to cut these into circles, probably about 2 to 3 centimetres thickness. And then I'm going to lay these into a lined tray. So you can see we've got some nice swirls on those. Might need another tray actually, because I don't want them right close together, so they need room to expand. So I had enough for 2 tins in the end, so I'm going to have loads of Christmas cinnamon rolls. So now I need to leave these to prove again for about another hour. So I'm just going to cover these with a clean tea towel. And then yeah, leave them for another hour until they are proven nicely. So after about an hour to prove, you can see these are puffed up, so these are now ready to go into the oven. But first, we just need to brush them with some egg wash, just get a nice golden colour all over them. And these can go into the oven at 200 degrees C for about 20 to 25 minutes. So we'll come back in about 20 minutes or so and see how these have gone. Right, after about 20 minutes, these have had a lovely browning in the oven. Look at those, they smell incredible. Look, oh dear. So I'm going to leave these to cool down for a bit while I make my icing, but I still want them a bit warm because I want to drizzle that icing over and it'll get all melty and lovely. So let's make a cream cheese Christmas icing to go with it. Now for our cream cheese icing, I'm going in with 175 grams of cream cheese, full fat, and 60 grams of softened butter. Then I'm going to cream that together. Then I want 225 grams of icing sugar. I'm going to do it in 2 halves because this goes everywhere. And the other half. Then to thin out the icing a little bit and to get some Christmassy flavour in, I'm going to squeeze in the juice from one of these Clementines. And I'm going to get round the edges and just combine that in. The flavour's good, but I think I can get some more zest off of these, so I'm going to try and get these in as well. There we go, got some zest as well as the juice. Let's taste that now. That's better. You get the sweetness of that lovely cream cheese icing, but you also get a hint of Christmassy sharpness from the Clementine. Lovely. Now I'm just going to spread this over my still warm cinnamon buns. Some amazing smells coming from these. There we go, and then I'm just going to leave this to cool for about maybe another 10-15 minutes, and I'm going to try one because it's nothing quite like a still warm cinnamon bun. There we go, one lovely and fluffy and gooey Christmas cinnamon roll. Look at that, doesn't that look tempting? It's been a bit of an experiment. I've made it up on the spot pretty much today, but I think there was something different to try instead of mince pies or something like that. I wanted to use up that mincemeat in a different way, and it looks pretty good to me. It certainly smells good, but how's it going to taste? I think it's going to taste pretty good, to be honest. It's got all the makings of something good. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to jump in and bite into this. It's going to be a hell of a mess, especially when you have a beard like me, but let's give it a go. It's certainly sticky and messy. Well, can't wait for this. Oh yeah, that is great. Stuff in my beard, hang on. Sorry, you don't need a close-up of me with cream cheese and stuff in my beard. That's great, I'm really happy with that. Look in there, look at that. You've got mincemeat, you've got that cinnamon, lovely buttery cinnamon, you've got fluffy cinnamon rolls, and you've got that cream cheese which has that hint of clementine and a bit of sharpness, but also that sweetness. and it's great. It's worked really well, and you get kind of like that. You get that Christmassy flavour from the mincemeat, and it's just fantastic. It's messy, it's unusual, but it's certainly worth a go. And this Christmas, I mean, this Christmas is completely all over the place. You know, what with everything that's going on, you know, tier 4 and all that. A lot of people can't see their families, so you've got to make the most of this Christmas one way or another. And if that involves experimenting a bit, trying weird stuff like Christmas cinnamon rolls and things like that, then do it. Try and make the most of this Christmas, because this year's there's been no rules, nobody knows what's going on, we're all doing our best to get through it. So if you've got to have a bit of fun, you know, have a bit of fun in the kitchen, try something new, try getting in the kitchen. If you've never really done it before, get in and get experimenting and have some fun. There's nothing to be scared of about it. Literally, I kind of made these up today. I've made cinnamon rolls before, but I didn't know if this would work. And it did, they taste great. And just get in the kitchen and just try and do something this Christmas just to try and, yeah, make the most of it, because we're all doing the best we can. I know I am. And hopefully my best is, you know, hopefully it's being entertaining for you, because that's what I try and do. I try and entertain, show you there's absolutely nothing to fear about getting in the kitchen, trying something new, stepping out of your comfort zone. This is always out of my comfort zone. So I hope you enjoy it, I really do. These were great, I highly recommend them. And even if you haven't got the mincemeat, just make cinnamon rolls, because they're great any time of the year. And yeah, I'm gonna go off, I'm gonna go finish this. I've got a load of tidying up to do. But this was a bit of fun, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to find out when new videos are going up. Have a good Christmas if I don't see you before. So take care, and I will see you soon. Bye! 2020 Christmas plans all messed up. Have your Christmas plans been messed up by year 20? Your Christmas plans all over the place because of 2020? Have your Christmas plans been messed up by the year that 20?